Hello aspirants, myself your botany mentor Dr. Mukesh Kumar. Continued with morphology of flowering plants. Now we will study about roots, their characteristics, types and their function. So let's see about the characteristics of root. Means what is root? How you can identify a root from stem, right? So whenever you are going to define a root, yes, you can define a root by important 7 characteristics. Yes, see, first of all, what happens? See and look, try to understand. This is a seed. We are talking about the angiospermic plant. So this is the root, and these roots are of angiosperm. You all know that angiospermic plants are there, right? So they have root. What happens? Whenever you will allow the root for germination, what happens? You will find this structure and this structure. See, this is called plumule, while this very structure is called radicle. Fine. So this very radicle only will give rise to root. So I have just explained you about the origin of root, how root comes out in angiospermic plant. See this diagram. This is the seed. During germination, you find, yes, the radicle, final radical grown up and develop into this completely root system. Okay, the root system means to say root as well as their branches, lateral branches. So whenever you will allow for the germination of the seed, what happens? You will find, yes, the lower structure, radicle, upper structure, plumule. This very plumule will give rise to shoot system, right? And this radicle will be a root system. And together, root system and the shoot system will grow in the form of a plant. So we are talking about here radicle, this is a root system. So what is root? Yes, I told you, you are just getting this radicle from seed, and the seed are shown in soil. So what we find? We find these roots are underground. Yes, inside the soil. These are the soils. Second, since it is under soil, it is non-green. There will be no photosynthesis generally. Now, what you are finding, this radicle are growing downward. So this is plumule is arising up. So this is ascending, but the radicle is going down. So this is the descending part of embryonic axis. What is the embryonic axis? See, this very part. This is the central part, and this very part is called embryonic axis. Okay, so this embryonic axis, at outside it bears plumule, while downward it bears radicle. So this radicle is the descending part of this very embryonic axis. Now, so this radicle bears, yes, what? Root. So root arises from radicle. Now it moves towards gravitation. See, it is going downward. So it is going downward means to say it is positive zeotropic as well as hydrotropic. Since it is positive to zeo and hydrotropic, so it will negative to the phototropic. It is far away from light. See, this is the sunlight. So if someone is growing, the plumule is going towards light, it will be positive phototropic. But radicle is going downward. So what happens? It is positive to zeotropic or hydrotropic, but it is negative to this what? Solar energy, sunlight. So it is negative phototropic. See, photo is light, tropism means towards movement. So negative movement towards light and positive movement towards gravitation and motion. Right? Now, what is the main function of this root? Yeah, this root will absorb water and minerals. Okay, and finally, these water and minerals are translocated to whole part of the plant in upward direction, means to say from root system to the shoot system. So what we have collected here, yes, important 7 points. First, title, okay, if you are finding something underground, under the soil, so it is underground. Since it is underground, so it is non-green. Okay, growing downwards, so this is the descending part, arises from the embryonic axis and arises from particularly, yes, radical. What happened? So they just move towards gravitation, that is positive zero, and hydrotropism, while negative phototropism. So what is the main function of this root? Yeah, it will absorb water and minerals and translocate to whole part of the plant. So this is a very important and distinguishing definition as well as characteristics of the root. So easily you can define a root. A question will come to you, what is root? You can say root is underground, non-green, and descending part of the embryonic axis, arises from radical, moves towards gravitation, that is positive zeotropic or hydrotropic or negative phototropic. Fine. It absorbs water and minerals and translocate to whole part of the plant. Fine. So this is the definition of root. You must learn it. Now, what is the characteristics of root? As I told you, important these very 7 points, these are also characters come from the definition of the root. Apart of that, just consider about the origin of fruit. Origin of fruit. Okay, so roots arise from pericycle, and this pericycle is present inside the endodermis. So the origin of root is endogenous. Now you will tell me, sir, what is this pericycle? If you are the student of class 11 and not studied plant anatomy, don't worry. Let's see and recognize this pericycle. See this diagram. See. Whenever you will cut a dicot root, right now, dicot root, yes, understand. If you are cutting a very common plant of sunflower, this is the dicot. If you are going to cut a very common plant, say maize, this is the monocot. Very common plant I have taken from monocot and dicot. So first talk about the dicot. What happened? See, whenever you will cut the dicot, you will find this anatomical description of root. First one is the monocot, second one is the dicot. What happened? See, this is the root hairs arising from, yes, epidermis. And this structure is called cortex, cortical hair. The inner cortex is called, yes, endodermis. And see what I was talking about. This is the pericycle. Fine. So this is the pericycle. Fine. And this pericycle is present inside the endodermis. So all the structure arising inside the endodermis, that is the pericycle, this is called endogenous. Okay. And if the structures are arising outside the endodermis, it is supposed to be the exogenous. Yes. See, the root hairs, they are arising from epidermis. So their position will be exogenous. But whenever we are talking about the root, see, it arises from pericycle, so it is called endogenous. Right? So this is very common point. See, here you have monocot, this is the pericycle. So this is very common for both monocot as well as dicot, that the roots will arise from pericycle inside the endodermis. That's why with origin it is called endogenous in origin. Is it clear, my friends? Now come see. So it is very clear that if you are talking about the origin of root, Yes, it arises from the pericycle, so it is endogenous. But root hairs, as you find that they comes from epidermis, epidermal layer, epidermis. That's why their origin is exogenous. So mind well, isn't it? Now talking about the vascular arrangement. Vascular means to say we have to talk about xylem and phloem. These are the vascular tissues. So how the xylem and phloems are present? First, in root, you will find the xylem and phloems are present in radial vascular bundle. You will go in detail during anatomy. But no, just their arrangement is radial. But when you are talking about the xylem position, the xylem is of also two types. Either there is a undeveloped xylem, small inside, this is called protoxylem. And another we have, this is called metaxylem. These are larger, matured than protoxylem. So see, what happened? The vascular tissues, okay, and their arrangement is also the characteristic feature that characterize a root from a stem. That's why it's very important. So, mind well, that in root, the vascular arrangement of vascular arrangement, that is xylem and phloem arrangement, especially xylem means protoxylem and the metaxylem arrangement you will talk, it is exarch. What is the meaning of exarch? Exarch means to say the protoxylem will lie outside, but the metaxylem will lie inside. Metaxylem inside, okay? Inside means to say towards pith. Fine. And outside, outer side, peripheral region. Okay. So its position is also called as centripetal, developed from outside to inside. Now see the diagram. You will easily recognize what you are finding here. See, this is the metaxylem. These are larger, and see, this is the protoxylem. These are the smaller. I am drawing the diagram to make it more clear. See, if dicot, this is the condition, fine, and you will find this is the arc. Usually it is detached, 4 arcs are there. So you will find here that this is the very matured and large xylem, and this is the metaxylem. Metaxylem. Fine. Now see, while if we will talk about there, this is very smaller hexagonal cell, and this is the protoxylem. Okay. Similarly, here it is smaller and gradually larger and largest. Smaller, large, largest. So the central one is largest. This is called metaxylem. So what you are finding, protoxylem is lying outside and metaxylem is lying inside. So this very position is called exarch. Right now, and this is also called centripetal arrangement of xylem, protoxylem and the metaxylem. Mind well, you will talk, sir, where is phloem? Yes, we have, see, these are the phloems. Yes, these are 4 patches of phloem. So as I told you, this is the radial. Radial means to say this is the vascular bundle, and say 1, 2, 3, 4. These are the one radius, say if it is xylem. So on the different radius, if you are finding this is the another radius, 1, 2, 3, 4. On the different radius, you will find these are the phloem. So what you are finding, xylem and phloems are present on different radius. So if they are present on the different radii, this is the very good arrangement of root, either in dicot or in monocot, and this is called radial arrangement of vascular bundle. In radial arrangement of vascular bundle, you will find metaxylem towards center and protoxylem towards outside. That's why this very arrangement is called as exarch, which is also known as centripetal arrangement. So I think you have well acquainted by the term centripetal arrangement, exarch arrangement, and what we mean by the radial vascular bundle of root. Isn't it? Now, so if you are finding, see, this is the underground part, and you have given two important structure, and both are non-green. Say if one is A and another one is B. So you have to recognize which one is root and which one is not root. You will get confused that, sorry, both are underground, both are non-green. So these are the characteristics of root. So both will be root. No, my dear doctor, no. Mind well. If you see, a very good mnemonics I have created for you. Nibble. Nibble stands for node, internode, bud and leaf. Remember again, node, internode, bud, leaf. This is called nibble. So if you are finding A, B, if B has nibble is present, and A has no nibble, N-I-B-L, node, internode, bud and leaf, if it is absent. So see, this is the nibble, node, these are the node. In between two nodes, there is one internode. So node, between two nodes, we have one internode. At that point, it may find leaf, you may find bud. So this is node, internode, bud and leaves. So if nibble is present, this is supposed to be only a stem. But if nibble is absent, this is 100% confirmed that it is nothing, rather only root. So if you have to identify a root from a stem, just recognize the presence of nibble or no. If it's present, it is stem. If it is absent, absolutely it will be root. Fine. Now come. So I explained you through this anatomical description how roots are arising from pericycle, root hair arising from epidermis. So it is exogenous and it is endogenous. Position is exarch, means protoxylem present outside, metaxylem present inside. Okay, arrangement is called centripetal arrangement. You find how in dicot it is tetrad usually, but it may vary from tetrad to exarch. Usually I told you it is tetrad, but in monocot there are more than 6, so it is also called polyarch. So this polyarch is for monocot, and for dicot usually it is tetrad to exarch. Fine. Now come. Let's study about the types of root. Very interesting. Right now, so we have 3 types of root. See, first we have, yes, it is taproot. Second we have fibrous root, and third we have adventitious root. So we have 3 types of root, right? So what is taproot? Taproot is the direct elongation of radicle. Means to say what I was talking about, that was taproot. So if a root is arising from radicle, it is only taproot. Fine. So what happened? This taproot first give rise to main root, and this main root, yes, primary root. Okay, this primary root will again give rise a branch, and this branch will be termed as secondary root. Further branches from secondary root is called tertiary root, and the ultimate branches is called rootlets. Okay, so what we are finding? We are finding this is a main root and these are the lateral branches. So the main root plus lateral branches are called taproot system. Isn't it? So if a root is arising from radicle, okay, it is called taproot. It is called taproot. But if you are going to study the taproot, that is the main root, along with the lateral branches, then it is called as taproot system. So this is called taproot system. And this is the characteristic feature of dicot plants. Usually you will find in dicot plants the roots will of root arising from radical, isn't it? Okay, now I will explain you. See, if you are finding this is the radical, fine. See, this is the radical plumule. Now this is the radical. What happened? This is a radical, and this radical will grow. So if it is growing, I am telling you, yes, this is your main root and arising from radical, so you can say it is the tap root. Fine. Now if I am telling you, you are finding first letter branch, yes, you can say it is primary root. Second letter branch from this, yes, it is the secondary or secondary root. Third branch, you can say this is the tertiary root. Okay, and final, there is also a final ultimate branches are there, you can say it is rootlets. Rootlets. So what you are finding, these are the lateral branches. Lateral branches. Fine. So this main root along with these lateral branches, they all constitute nothing rather tap root system. Fine. And I told you that this tap root system is very common in dicot plants. Is it clear? I think. Fine. So first type we finished, and this is called tap root system. Isn't it? Now see, why you got this very much and advanced branches? Because this main root, okay, this is the long-lived. Mind well. Might be possible that if you are finding this radical, and this radical, yes, it is growing, this is a tap, okay, come, you are finding this is the plant is growing, yeah, small plantlets, and you are finding this is the main root, okay, but you will find that by any means this very main root or primary root, what happened if you are finding that this very main root or primary root are short-lived? They will not survive for a long time. They are short-lived. Understand, try to understand. Locate. Already this upper part have bears what? Their shoot system. And if you are telling, sir, it is short-lived, then how the plant will get water? How the plant will get minerals in the absence of the root? So what happened? The nature will replace this very dead part, short-lived part, that this main root will be replaced by a number of fibrous root-like structure, fibrous structure, and this replacing structure is called nothing rather fibrous root, and their branches will call root system. Okay, so what you find again, locate. You are finding here it is long lived, here you are finding it is short lived. Since it is short lived, so this main root is what happened? It is being replaced by fibrous root. And they finally develop the system. Later branches will be there, and there will be formation of fibrous root system. And this is only characteristic feature of monocots. It is only found in monocots, isn't it? So usually dicot plants have taproot, and usually the monocot plants have fibrous root. The same thing I have mentioned here. Yes, locate, try to understand. What is fibrous root? Primary root, this is short-lived. So replaced by a number of fine fibrous roots that arise from a stem base and constitute fibrous root system. So found monocot only, as for example wheat and rice. So this is only monocot, this is only dicot. Understand? Now if you are finding roots are arising from any part of the plant except radical, means to say non-radical origin we have. Yes, so roots arising from any part of the plant except radicle, it is called adventitious root system. By name it is very much clear. Adventitious means to say extraordinary. Extraordinary. To understand. So we have already understand ordinary things. Either from radical long leaf, either from radical short leaf. Okay, but it might be possible extraordinary means to say except radical, they may start grow from either a stem, node of the stem say, internode of the stem say. If roots are arising from branches, main branches of the plants, okay, if arising from leaf of a plant, so these are the other non-radical parts. So these are the non-radical part, non-radical structure. So if roots are arising from this very non-radical structure, this is called adventitious root, and their branches, lateral branches of adventitious root will constitute similarly adventitious root system. See, it is found in grass, monocot, monstera, it is given in your NCERT. Monstera, it is the monocot plant also. Banyan tree, yes, it is a dicot. So what you are finding, both monocot as well as dicot plants are the member of this adventitious root. So you can say it is found in both monocot as well as dicot. But only monocot, remember, this is the fibrous root. Only dicot, remember, it is the taproot. Isn't it? So in this way we concluded what is taproot, what is adventitious root, and what is fibrous root. Right? Now, yes. So can you identify this structure? Yes, tell me what do you think about this first structure. Say if it is A. Yes, we are finding these are the main roots and they are long leaf having their lateral branches. So this structure, say it is tap root system. Isn't it? And see the main roots, yeah. Primary root is short leaf, dead, replaced by this fibrous root. So what is the characteristic feature? In which plant it will find? Can you guess? Tell me, either it is found in dicot or monocot. What do you think, my dear doctor? Yes, you are right. It is only found in monocot plants. Fine. But see, this is the Monstera deliciosa. Very interesting plant. Also known as, these are the indoor plants. Also known as hurricane plants. These are shrub in nature, monocot plant, and belongs to the family Araceae. Fine. Now, what is the main function of root? Okay, so remember, main function of root, for that it mainly what this root absorbs and conduct water and minerals from the soil. As I told you, from root system to shoot system, there is upward movement, unidirectional upward movement will take place, through which the water and mineral will conduct. Okay, so what happened? First point, absorption and conduction of water and minerals from the soil. Now second, what happened? If their root will grow very excessively inside the soil, so they will just bind the main plant from this very root. So what happened? They are providing the anchorage to plant and their pets. Now, apart of that, they also store reserve food. Remember, if you are talking about radish, we will study later on. Radish, we eat this radish, and what we eat this radish, and this is nothing rather root. So you are getting maximum starch from this root. So the food starch, as you find in radish, root is present. So the root also stores reserve food material. Right? Now, it is also found that at the tip of the root there is the synthesis of auxins. These are the growth hormone, plant growth hormone. plant growth regulator it is, that help in the gravity perception. They help in the gravity perception, movement towards the gravitation, isn't it? So the synthesis of plant hormones like auxin also occur in root. So root helps in the synthesis of plant growth regulators. So these are the important 4 points we have, and main function of the root. So remember, as mnemonics, apps. Important 4 point apps. A for very simple, absorption of water and minerals. P, yes, provide encourage. S for storage of food material, and S, synthesis of plant growth regulator. So one is storage, second is synthesis, first is absorption. So these are the main important function of the root. Is it clear? So thank you very much. Be a great doctor to serve humanity with your botany educator or mentor, Mukesh Kumar. So just go through this all, revise this thing, make a very good notes of your this series of morphology of flowering plants. Till then, thank you.